Hi, I'm Katie Cleary here for World Animal News, and I'm here with the founders of Liberia Chimpanzee Rescue and Protection, Jenny and Jimmy Desmond. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So how did this dream start of rescuing chimpanzees in Africa?
When we were out traveling, Jimmy said, there's a place we can go see orangutans. They're being rehabilitated in the wild.
Yeah.
And we ended up going there just to visit, and we're lucky enough to volunteer there. And we both kind of realized this is kind of what we want to do. Jimmy decided, I can be a veterinarian and study emerging diseases, and I can work with all kinds of species and animals and individuals doing rescue and rehabilitation and conservation.
And then once we were networked in that world, this situation happened in Liberia where a group of chimpanzees who had been using a biomedical research program for decades, going back to the 70s, was abandoned during the Ebola crisis in West Africa. And because people kind of know us, Jimmy and Jenny working with Great Apes, we got asked to go there and help these chimps, and that was 10 years ago. We're supposed to be there for 1 month, but we realized there was a much bigger problem in Liberia with illegal wildlife trade, and the bushmeat trade and the live great ape trade, and so someone needed to address the problem, and that ended up being Jenny and I. The thing that's really unique and important about Liberia is it's the only country in West Africa that still has a lot of habitat left.
Okay.
A place that has intact, really large tracts of tropical forest. Most of the other surrounding countries have much more fragmented forest. So there's a real opportunity in Liberia if we're able to get people to stop hunting and killing the chimpanzees to have a really great home.
How is it working with chimpanzees? So you told me before this interview, people say, okay, I want to go and spend the whole time with the chimpanzees, and you're like, you're only going to want to spend a couple hours.
Yeah.
So why is that? They're like little children.
What we try and do is we try and simulate what their life would be like in the wild. Most of the chimps we get are less than 2 years old. And at that age, they'd still be riding on their mom's back and really being very close to their mom, even up to age like 3. Once the chimps come in, we provide 24-hour care to them. Once they're about 1.5 years or 2 years old, they're hard to handle unless you know what you're doing, and letting them kind of be themselves.
Now, not all of them are releasable, is that correct?
None of them are releasable, so they will live at our sanctuary, but they'll be back in a wild, natural setting. But they'll come in at night.
So it's really nice for the chimps. I mean, it's a really, really big trees, and they can really climb and experience what life would be like in the wild.
Their rainforest habitats are being decimated, and from what I understand, at 3 football fields every half an hour, it's being destroyed. So either for palm oil or for rubber.
Now, we share the planet with all these other species, all these other animals and individuals. We're the only ones who can do anything about changing our own behavior to try and stop the habitat from being destroyed. Protecting forest is also important for protecting the climate. That's where the link comes in.
Let's look at COVID, look at Ebola, look at these different avian flus, all these things we're seeing. That's because of this intersection that is not supposed to be happening.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And I think just to say one thing specific about chimps, they're called gardeners of the forest, and I think it's really neat because they do take care of the forest. They keep the forest alive.
I wanted to kind of segue also into a lot of people don't know what the bushmeat trade is.
Yep.
And I know it's so hard to talk about, and I know it's hard for you guys because you work with these amazing little babies every single day that are orphaned because of the bushmeat trade.
So the bushmeat trade is wild meats, but it's many times is protected or endangered species who are killed for food. So it's not just somebody going out and killing a duiker or an antelope or even a chimp to eat or have in the community. Yeah. It's a scale of like drugs or weapons, human trafficking. It's at that level. So the bushmeat trade is becoming a commercial trade that's going out of Liberia into the region, into other countries around the world. It's at such a scale that we will destroy all species. Between the bushmeat and then the demand for exotic pets, whether that's a turtle or a frog, so that, from the Amazon, or a chimpanzee from Liberia, it's just a rampant trade in this trafficking. We've changed a lot of policies and legislation with our partners and with our, especially our local partners in enforcement, and that's going to make a big impact, over time. Yeah.
What keeps you going? Is the mission? Is it your faith? What really drives you?
I think for me, I would just say seeing those transformations, and then just the one-track mind of stopping this. As I said before, without you guys, we don't have a voice. So thank you.
Well, without you guys, we wouldn't have any animals.
Okay, so then we're even.
We're even. Well, thank you so much for your incredible work. And how can people help and donate, and what can they do to get involved?
Yeah, so we always say, of course, donations are amazing. You can come to our website, which is liberiachimpanzeerescue.org. You can go on our social media. We're very active on Instagram and on Facebook. And then I always say, just spread the word. Like, make sure people understand what we've talked about today, because the more people who know, the more people care.
Of course.
And you can make a difference just by telling somebody about this issue and that it's important.
Every dollar really does count. It means a lot to us, but it means everything to the chimps and our caregivers. So it's really, really important.
Thank you so much, Jenny and Jimmy, for sitting down with us, talking about your amazing work and the Liberia Chimp Rescue and Protection. You're truly doing God's work. Thank you so much. And if you would like to donate, please visit worldanimalnews.com to read more.